This book does not appear by chance. It finds you exactly 3 days before everything begins to change. Within change of reality lies the shift that prepares your mind for what is about to unfold. Get ready, because once it begins, nothing will remain the same. Change of reality. Introduction. The universe speaks in vibrations, not words. You are its instrument, tuning yourself to the frequency of possibility. Your inner landscape is not a static terrain, but a living, breathing canvas where thoughts dance and emotions paint their hidden signatures. Imagine your consciousness as a radio receiver. Most humans remain fixed on a single station, believing it represents the entirety of transmission. But you are learning to adjust the dial. Each subtle shift in your internal frequency sends ripples through the quantum field, signaling your deepest intentions. Your belief is not merely a thought, it is a command. When you truly feel the reality of your desire, not hope it, not wish for it, but know it with the same certainty you know the ground beneath your feet, you activate an ancient mechanism of manifestation. The law of attraction is not magic. It is precision. It is alignment. It is the mathematical certainty that like attracts like, that your internal state determines your external experience. Your thoughts are not whispers into emptiness, but broadcasts into a responsive universe. Every emotion carries a specific vibration. Joy resonates at a higher frequency than doubt. Confidence hums louder than fear. You are learning to become a deliberate conductor of these energetic waves, understanding that what you consistently feel, you inevitably reveal. This is not about controlling external circumstances. This is about mastering your internal landscape. Your power lies not in forcing outcomes, but in creating the energetic conditions where those outcomes naturally emerge. Listen, the universe is always communicating. Are you ready to truly hear? Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. Awakening the Inner Magnet. Chapter 1. The Hum Beneath All Things. The universe whispers its secrets through vibration, and you are its most intricate instrument. Consider Mildred Watson, whose morning garden ritual revealed a profound truth hidden in plain sight. Each day she would step into her small patch of earth, watering can in hand, humming a tune that seemed thoughtless, yet was perfectly aligned with her inner landscape. Her flowers did not simply grow. They flourished with an extraordinary vitality that puzzled her neighbors. What they could not see was the invisible thread connecting her gentle humming to the resilient blooming around her. Her joy was not just an emotion, but a frequency, a living transmission that nourished every leaf and petal. This is how the universe communicates, not through grand proclamations, but through the subtle resonance of your internal state. Your thoughts are not mere mental constructions, but energetic broadcasts that shape the world around you. When you hum with ease, life responds with abundance. Clarence Holt understood this language differently. Sitting by a tranquil lake one autumn morning, he had a revelation that would transform his understanding of interaction. He had carried worry like a heavy stone, believing that concern could somehow protect him from uncertainty. But as he whispered his anxieties to the wind, something remarkable happened. Ducks began to glide toward him, unbothered, graceful, embodying a peace he had forgotten. Their movement was a gentle reminder that release carries more power than resistance. Each feathered creature seemed to say, "Trust is lighter than fear, and surrender creates space for unexpected harmony." Your connection to the universe is not complicated. It is as simple and profound as a song, as natural as a breath. When you align your internal frequency with what you desire, truly feel it, not just think it, you become a magnet for transformation. The practice is delicate yet powerful. Close your eyes each evening and hum silently the emotion of peace, as if singing to your future self until your body feels the same calm as the lake. Chapter 2. The Mirror of Thought. In the quiet symphony of existence, you are not merely an observer, but the conductor of your life's orchestra. The universe listens intently to the music of your inner world, waiting to harmonize with the melody of your deepest beliefs. Dorothy Lane's discovery whispers an ancient truth. Your reflection is more than a mere image. It is a sacred portal of potential. When she began speaking kindly to herself, treating her mirror image as a beloved companion, something extraordinary began to unfold. The world around her started to resonate with the same gentle frequency she projected. Imagine standing before your reflection, not with criticism, but with unwavering compassion. Each word you speak becomes a seed planted in the fertile ground of reality. Your thoughts are not passive. They are active creators, shimmering with the power to transform. Consider Leonard Price, the unassuming shoemaker whose hands crafted more than leather and thread. With each shoe he completed, he would pause and whisper gratitude, not just for the work, but for the journey of the person who would walk in them. His appreciation was a silent blessing, an invisible thread weaving connection between his craft and the unknown wearer. The universal law of attraction operates with remarkable precision. It does not distinguish between your inner dialogue and external circumstances. What you consistently believe, what you consistently feel, becomes the blueprint that reality constructs around you. Your thoughts are not weightless. They are electromagnetic signals broadcasting your deepest expectations into the quantum field. When you align your inner dialogue with the reality you wish to experience, you become a magnetic force of transformation. Reflection is not about perfection, but about recognition. Recognize the power within you. Acknowledge the divine intelligence that flows through your veins. Your words, spoken to yourself with genuine love and respect, create ripples that extend far beyond your immediate perception. The world is not happening to you. It is happening through you. Your inner state is the lens through which all experiences are filtered, interpreted, and manifested. Practice. Each morning stand before your reflection. Look deeply into your own eyes. Speak words of blessing, of potential, of unconditional love. Say, "I see you, I honor you, I trust the wisdom within you." Bless your reflection as you would a cherished friend, knowing that the universe will echo back the same reverence. Chapter 3. The Invisible String. You stand at the threshold of understanding, where thought meets form and perception shapes reality. Evelyn Grant's journey illuminates a truth that whispers through the fabric of existence. Manifestation is not about forcing outcomes, but about cultivating a state of being that naturally attracts your deepest desires. Evelyn had long believed her life was a series of random events, a chaotic dance of chance and circumstance. Yet, as she began to trace the invisible threads connecting her most joyful moments, a profound pattern emerged. Each success, each moment of unexpected grace, carried a singular essence, a feeling of ease that preceded its physical manifestation. There was a lightness to her most magical experiences, a calm certainty that preceded achievement. When she had secured her dream job, she remembered feeling its reality weeks before the offer arrived. When love found her, she had first cultivated a sense of wholeness that seemed to call forth her partner. The universe responds not to desperate grasping, but to the quiet confidence of inner alignment. Your thoughts are not mere mental chatter, but vibrant energy signatures that resonate beyond the boundaries of your mind. They are living frequencies that dance with the greater symphony of existence. Bernard Mayfield's wisdom from mending his fence became a metaphor for this universal principle. As he worked, he discovered that the wooden boards that yielded gently to pressure, those that bent without resistance, never splintered or broke. His calm patience transformed the task, making completion flow with an almost effortless grace. This is the art of manifestation, not forcing, but allowing, not controlling, but aligning. Your inner state creates ripples that reshape external reality, much like a stone dropped into a still pond sends waves across the entire surface. When you learn to trust the invisible string connecting your inner world to outer experience, you become a co-creator with the universe. Your thoughts are not weak whispers, but powerful commands. Your feelings are not mere reactions, but creative instructions. Alignment is not about perfection, but about trust. It's about believing in the unseen potential before physical evidence arrives. Each moment of calm expectation is a seed planted in the fertile ground of possibility. As dusk arrives, notice one event that felt strangely guided today. Whisper thank you, and expect tomorrow to continue the harmony. Chapter 4. The Language of Desire. You stand at the threshold of understanding how your inner world weaves the tapestry of external reality. The universe listens not to your whispers, but to the resonance of your emotional landscape. Hazel Brooks discovered this truth through her meticulous notebook of wishes. She noticed a curious pattern. Those desires she described with raw, unbridled passion seemed to materialize with an almost magical precision. It wasn't the words themselves that summoned her dreams, but the electric current of feeling that coursed through her when she wrote them. Imagine Hazel, her pen dancing across the chapters, not merely recording wishes, but breathing life into them through the intensity of her emotional projection. When she wrote about a dream home, she didn't just list specifications. She felt the warmth of sunlight streaming through windows, heard the soft padding of her feet on polished wooden floors, sensed the embrace of a space that was wholly and completely hers. Nearby, Floyd Benson understood this principle through his art. A painter of modest technical skill, he transformed his canvases by doing something extraordinary. Instead of merely mixing pigments, he mixed emotions. When he painted landscapes, he didn't just see colors, he imagined sunlight, feeling its warmth penetrate his very being. His brush strokes became conduits of pure joy, and critics began to speak of his work as transcendent. Floyd's paintings glowed with an inexplicable quality. They weren't just representations of scenes, but portals of feeling. Each canvas carried the vibration of his inner state, radiating an energy that drew viewers into a different realm of perception. The universal principle reveals itself. Creation is not about technique, but about emotional alignment. Your desires do not manifest through mechanical effort, but through the quality of your inner experience. When you can feel the reality of your wish as if it already exists, you create a magnetic field that draws that experience toward you. This is the art of manifestation. Not forcing, but feeling. Not demanding, but allowing. Not struggling, but aligning. Your emotions are the language the universe understands most fluently. Practice. Speak one desire aloud daily as if describing a memory already lived, smiling as proof that your vibration precedes your evidence. Chapter 5. The Gentle Command. You stand at the threshold of understanding a profound truth. Desire is not a desperate cry into the wilderness, but a gentle, assured whisper that commands the universe to listen. Your wants are not separate from you. They are extensions of your innermost being, waiting to be acknowledged. Ruth Warren's journey illuminates this wisdom. Once, she pursued love like a beggar, hands outstretched, voice trembling with need. Her pleas echoed with desperation, each word a testament to her perceived lack. But something shifted when she realized that begging only reinforces the very emptiness she sought to fill. Instead, Ruth learned to command gently. She began speaking of love as a present reality, not a distant dream. Her language transformed from, "I hope someone will love me," to "love flows through me and surrounds me." The subtle difference was everything. Marvin Ellis walked a similar path in his modest apartment. Where others might have seen limitations, he saw potential. He blessed each corner, each wall, treating his small space as an abundant palace. He spoke to his home with reverence, as though it were already magnificent. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the space began to respond. A neighbor gifted a beautiful painting. A stray plant found its way to his windowsill. Unexpected beauty started arriving, not as random chance, but as a natural response to his elevated perception. The universe listens not to your words, but to the emotional current beneath them. When you speak from a place of lack, you broadcast scarcity. When you speak from a place of abundance, you broadcast invitation. Your desires are not separate requests sent into the void. They are living energies that pulse within you, seeking expression. The art is not in demanding, but in allowing, not in forcing, but in aligning. Imagine your desires as seeds already planted, merely waiting to sprout. Your job is not to dig them up constantly to check their progress, but to provide the right environment, fertile soil of belief, warm sunlight of expectation, gentle waters of consistent faith. The language of desire is spoken in the tone of already having, not in the desperation of wanting. It is a soft command, a knowing whisper that says, "This is already mine." Practice. Breathe with quiet pride and repeat in your mind that all things are preparing to meet you because they already belong to you. Chapter 6. The Currency of Emotion. You stand at the threshold of understanding a truth that transforms everything. Your emotional landscape is the true architect of your reality. Cora Fields discovered this not through grand schemes or calculated strategies, but through the subtle alchemy of her inner state. In her small bakery, between quiet streets, Cora realized that her daily earnings fluctuated not with her hours of labor, but with the vibration of her inner experience. On days when joy bubbled effortlessly through her veins, customers seemed drawn by an invisible current. They would enter with smiles already forming, purchasing more than they intended, engaging in conversations that sparkled with unexpected warmth. When her mood shifted to worry or lack, the bakery would grow still. The same pastries that had danced with golden promise now seemed ordinary, and customers would drift past her window, choosing elsewhere. This was not coincidence, but a living demonstration of a universal rhythm. Your emotional state broadcasts a frequency that the world cannot help but respond to, arranging circumstances to match your inner music. Chester Doyle understood this principle intuitively. His lemonade stand was more than a business. It was a celebration. Each afternoon he would set up his modest table, not with calculations of profit, but with an infectious joy that transformed a simple transaction into an experience of connection. Customers would approach, drawn not by the promise of refreshment, but by the sound of his laughter, the genuine delight radiating from his being. Lines would form not out of necessity, but out of a desire to be near the energy of pure, uncalculated happiness. Chester did not chase customers. He attracted them by being a pure channel of joy. His lemonade became secondary to the emotional feast he offered, a reminder that abundance flows not from desperate grasping, but from an open, celebrating heart. The universe listens not to your words, but to the tone beneath them. Your feelings are the true currency of creation, spending faster and more powerfully than any physical effort. When you generate an emotion of wealth, of joy, of effortless receiving, you send out a signal that reorganizes reality around your inner state. Spend 1 minute daily generating an emotion of wealth without any object attached. Let the heart become the treasury. Chapter 7. When Belief Becomes Sight. You stand at the threshold of understanding a truth that has eluded most. Reality bends not to what you see, but to what you believe. Ida Palmer's journey illuminates this sacred principle with the clarity of morning light. For years, Ida walked through life with walls of skepticism, her heart guarded like a fortress. Friendship seemed a distant dream, something that happened to others, but never to her. She watched from the edges, believing connection was a privilege reserved for those more charismatic, more fortunate. Then something within her shifted, not through grand gestures, but through a quiet internal decision to trust. She began to believe in the possibility of genuine connection before evidence appeared. Her belief became a gentle invitation, a silent whisper to the universe. Slowly, unexpectedly, friendships began to emerge. A neighbor who had lived beside her for years suddenly shared a conversation over garden flowers. A colleague offered unexpected support during a challenging work project. The world around her began responding to her newfound internal landscape. Vernon Tate's story echoes a similar transformation. A craftsman with dreams larger than his current circumstances, he understood the power of inner rehearsal. While others saw mere wood and tools, Vernon felt the salt winds of adventure. His hands carved a model ship not as a passive hobby, but as an active conversation with possibility. When he completed the intricate vessel, something remarkable occurred. An invitation arrived, a chance to sail, to experience the very journey he had already lived in his imagination. The external world merely caught up with his internal reality. These stories reveal a universal law. Your inner world is the true blueprint of your experience. Believing is not waiting, it is creating. Your emotions, your expectations, your quiet convictions are the currency that purchases new realities. The universe listens not to your words, but to the frequency of your belief. When you trust completely, when you feel the reality of your desire as present truth, you become a magnet for its manifestation. Practice. Close your eyes and imagine the scent, texture, and joy of what you wish. Not someday, but now. Chapter 8. The Still Place Within Motion. In the tapestry of universal wisdom, you are learning that movement is not always about physical motion, but about the internal rhythm of your consciousness. Beatrice Clarke's journey reveals a profound truth that many souls wrestle with throughout their existence: the misconception that constant action equals progress. Beatrice had spent decades believing that rest was a luxury reserved for the weak, that every moment not spent striving was a moment wasted. Her days were a relentless marathon of effort, her mind perpetually churning with plans, her body perpetually tensed with anticipation. She chased success like a distant horizon, never realizing that the very act of chasing was creating an invisible barrier between herself and her desires. The universe whispered its wisdom through unexpected channels. One quiet afternoon, as exhaustion finally breached her defenses, Beatrice experienced a momentary surrender. In that instant of complete stillness, something shifted. The energy around her became fluid, responsive, as if her internal landscape was rearranging itself without her furious orchestration. Leroy Webb's story mirrors this universal principle. During a rainstorm that would typically provoke frustration, he discovered a different approach. Instead of fighting against the water's rhythm, he moved with it. His calm acceptance transformed the experience from a potential inconvenience to a dance of natural elements. Where others saw chaos, he found harmony. The teaching is clear. Your resistance creates friction, while your acceptance generates flow. When you cease struggling against the current of life, you allow the universe to navigate you toward your deepest desires. Your stillness is not passive, it is a powerful state of receptivity. Imagine your consciousness as a clear lake. When you stop throwing stones of worry and strain into its surface, the water becomes a perfect mirror, reflecting exactly what you are. Your thoughts are not meant to be weapons of force, but instruments of alignment. The practice awaiting you is not a task, but an invitation. Sit silently and sense motion inside your stillness until peace feels like movement itself. This is not a paradox, but a profound understanding of how energy truly operates. Your stillness is an active state of listening, of allowing, of being so completely present that transformation becomes inevitable. Chapter 9. The Turning Thought. You stand at the threshold of a profound truth. Your thoughts are not mere whispers, but alchemical agents capable of transforming the very fabric of your experience. Minnie Hall's story reveals a secret that many overlook: the power of conscious redirection. Each morning, Minnie faced a choice. Where others saw mundane routines, she saw an opportunity to craft her reality. When shadows of monotony threatened to paint her day gray, she would pause, take a breath, and deliberately select a more luminous thought. Her kitchen, once a place of mechanical tasks, became a sanctuary of wonder, simply because she chose to see it differently. The universe listens intently to the tone of your inner dialogue. Your thoughts are not passive observers, but active creators. When you catch yourself sliding into a narrative of limitation, you possess the remarkable ability to pivot, to reach for a thought that carries more light, more possibility. Alvin Ford's experience illuminates this principle with stunning clarity. Standing amidst chilling winds, he could have succumbed to complaint. Many would. Instead, he paused. In that moment of stillness, he blessed the crisp air for its clarity, for the way it sharpened his senses and awakened his spirit. Remarkably, as his perception shifted, so did his experience. Warmth began to emerge, not from external changes, but from the internal landscape he had reshaped. This is the essence of conscious thought management. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the architect of your experience. Each thought is a brushstroke, each emotion a color palette with which you paint your reality. When heaviness descends, and it will, you need not battle it. Instead, you can gently guide yourself toward a lighter perspective. The practice is simple yet profound. When thoughts of struggle or limitation arise, do not fight them. Instead, softly reach for a thought marginally better. Like climbing a ladder, move one rung at a time, from frustration to mild acceptance, from acceptance to curiosity, from curiosity to hope. Your thoughts are not random. They are signals you can tune. Just as a radio finds clearer stations by adjusting its frequency, you can adjust your inner frequency. The goal is not immediate, dramatic transformation, but gentle, consistent redirection. Whenever heaviness visits, softly reach for one thought lighter, letting the chain of better feeling pull you home. Chapter 10. The Echo of Yes. You stand at the threshold of transformation, where every small agreement with life becomes a gateway to unexpected miracles. Lula Pierce understood this secret long before the world recognized its power. Her life was a testament to the extraordinary magic that unfolds when you say yes to the whispers of joy that drift through ordinary moments. Lula's mornings began with a simple ritual of gratitude. She would pause by her kitchen window, watching sunlight dance across the wooden floor, and whisper a quiet yes to the warmth. Not a complicated prayer, not a desperate plea, but a gentle acknowledgement of beauty. Her neighbors noticed something different about her, a luminous quality that seemed to attract good fortune as effortlessly as flowers turn toward light. When birdsong drifted through her open window, she would smile and nod, accepting the melody as a personal greeting. When unexpected laughter bubbled up from a passing conversation, she would let it fill her, allowing the sound to resonate within her being. Each yes was like a soft invitation to the universe, a quiet signal that she was open to wonder. Franklin Reeves knew nothing of such philosophy. A man of calculation and careful planning, he had structured his life around avoiding surprises. Opportunities were things to be analyzed, not embraced. But something shifted the day. An unexpected invitation arrived. A colleague's random suggestion to attend a small networking event. His old self would have declined, finding a dozen rational reasons to stay home. But something, perhaps a whisper from beyond reason, prompted him to say yes. At that event, he met an ally who would transform his entire career trajectory. Not through grand gestures, but through a simple connection that unfolded naturally, as if it had been waiting for his willingness to receive. The universe speaks a language beyond words. It understands the vibration of your acceptance, the frequency of your openness. When you say yes, truly say yes, you are not merely agreeing to an external circumstance. You are aligning yourself with the expansive current of possibility. Your yes is an instruction. It tells the universe that you are ready, that you are willing to receive. Each affirmation, no matter how small, creates ripples through unseen corridors of potential. A yes to a morning's beauty. A yes to an unexpected invitation. A yes to a moment of unexpected connection. Tonight, as darkness settles and quiet surrounds you, recall 3 moments when you said yes. Not the grand decisions, but the small surrenders. The smile you shared, the kindness you accepted, the opportunity you embraced. Smile, knowing the universe heard each of these as precise instructions to deliver more wonder. Practice. Tonight, recall 3 moments you said yes, and smile knowing the universe heard all 3 as instructions to deliver more. Part 2. The Dance of Alignment. Chapter 11. The Art of Letting Appear. In the quiet corners of life's grand tapestry, you will find that resistance is the heaviest weight you can carry. Nellie Price learned this truth not through struggle, but through a moment of sublime surrender. For years, she had fought against the currents of her existence, believing that control was the key to manifestation. Her hands were always gripped tight, her mind a fortress of expectations, her heart locked away behind walls of rigid determination. But the universe whispers its wisdom to those who learn to listen. Nellie discovered that manifestation flows not through force, but through acceptance. Like a river finding its natural path, your desires move most swiftly when you release the need to micromanage their journey. Gordon Lee embodied this principle with remarkable simplicity. A man of quiet intuition, he understood that true manifestation begins with trust. One evening, as moonlight spilled across his desk, he wrote his deepest desires on a piece of paper. Each word was a gentle breath of intention, free from desperation or doubt. Then, in a ritual of complete surrender, he burned the paper, watching the flames transform his written wishes into smoke that drifted toward the infinite. Within days, as if guided by an unseen hand, the very things he had written began to materialize, not through his straining or plotting, but through a calm knowing that what is meant for you will find its way. The teaching crystallizes into a simple truth. Allow rather than insist. Your desires are not battles to be won, but guests to be welcomed. When you create space for possibility, the universe rushes to fill that space with miracles. This is the dance of manifestation, a delicate balance between clear intention and complete surrender. You are not passive in this process, but profoundly receptive. Your role is to plant the seed of desire, nurture it with belief, and then trust the soil of the universe to cradle it into bloom. As the chapter draws to a close, a practice awaits you, a bridge between your inner world and the vast potential surrounding you. Practice. Imagine your wish floating away wrapped in gratitude, knowing its return is certain. Chapter 12. The Frequency of Faith. In the gentle rhythm of existence, you are learning the most profound art, the art of letting appear. Just as a gardener does not force seeds to sprout but creates the conditions for growth, you too can cultivate the environment where your desires naturally emerge. Bessie Ray understood this secret intimately. Each morning, she would sit by her window, closing her eyes and surrounding her challenges with an inner light so luminous that struggle could not withstand its radiance. She did not fight her obstacles, she transformed them. Where others saw barriers, she saw opportunities for transmutation. Her daily practice was not wishful thinking, but a deep embodied faith. Faith, she knew, was not a distant hope pinned on uncertain futures, but a felt sense of certainty that permeated her entire being. When she visualized light, it was not a mental image, but a living sensation that coursed through her veins, reshaping the very fabric of her reality. Consider Basil Moore, a radio technician whose work became a metaphor for inner alignment. While tuning radios, he observed how static, that irritating noise of disconnection, would dissolve the moment the frequency perfectly aligned. His hands, moving delicately across dials, understood something profound about the universe. Harmony emerges not through force, but through precise, gentle attunement. This principle extends far beyond radio waves. Your inner world operates on similar principles. When your emotional frequency matches your desired reality, resistance dissipates. The static of doubt, fear, and uncertainty becomes a distant memory, replaced by a clear, resonant signal of possibility. You are not separate from the energetic landscape around you. You are a living, breathing transmitter and receiver. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are not passive experiences, but active signals that interact constantly with the universal field. The art of letting appear asks you to trust, not with your mind, but with the deepest part of your being. It requires you to cultivate a state of receptive expectancy, where you are simultaneously relaxed and alert, patient and passionate. Your practice is simple, yet profound. Tune your attention to one reality that feels better and stay there lovingly until static disappears. Chapter 13. The Harvest of Thought. You are a gardener of consciousness, and every thought you tend becomes a living, breathing reality. Flora Wells understood this sacred principle long before most would recognize its power. Her mind was not a passive receiver, but an active creator, where each thought was a seed carefully selected and lovingly nurtured. Flora knew that emotional resonance was the water and sunlight of manifestation. When she smiled, truly smiled, her world responded with unexpected generosity. Her thoughts were not mere fleeting whispers, but deliberate cultivations, chosen with the precision of a master botanist, selecting rare and vibrant seeds. Clyde Barnes discovered a similar truth in the quiet ritual of his morning breakfast. He realized that the day's texture was not determined by external circumstances, but by the internal landscape he chose to inhabit. Before the first ray of sunlight touched his kitchen, he began blessing his morning, speaking words of gratitude, imagining warmth, success, and ease. The universe, ever responsive, listened. His mornings transformed from mundane passages of time to canvases of possibility. Each blessing was a frequency, each thought a tuning fork aligning invisible energies. Expectation became his soil, attention his water, and belief his sunlight. Your inner world is not separate from what appears around you. It is the blueprint, the energetic template from which physical reality emerges. Just as a gardener knows that healthy soil produces abundant harvests, you must tend to the soil of your consciousness with equal care and intention. When you plant thoughts of joy, possibility, and trust, you are not engaging in wishful thinking. You are participating in the profound alchemy of creation. Your emotions are not passive experiences, but active signals broadcast to the universal network, calling forth matching experiences. The art of manifestation is not about forcing outcomes, but about creating an internal environment so alive, so resonant with what you desire, that external reality cannot help but reflect your inner state. Your expectations are not mere predictions but invitations. They call forth potential into form. Clyde's mornings became a testament to this principle. By blessing each dawn, by choosing thoughts of possibility and grace, he discovered that the world is infinitely malleable, shaped moment by the frequency of one's inner dialogue. Flora and Clyde represent more than individual stories. They are reminders of your own latent power, the ability to shape reality through conscious emotional cultivation. Your mind is not a passive stage, but an active creator, continuously broadcasting signals that magnetize corresponding experiences. Upon waking, plant one pleasant thought and water it through the day with attention. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14: The Bridge Between Realms. You stand at the threshold of creation, where thought becomes the seed and attention the water that nurtures your inner garden. Agnes Cole understood something profound about time, that it is not a linear path, but a tapestry where moments touch and blend like watercolors. Agnes spoke to her future self as though they were companions who had known each other across lifetimes. She would sit by her window, watching the afternoon light cascade across her hands, and whisper conversations that seemed to bridge what is and what could be. Her belief was simple yet revolutionary, that imagination is not mere fantasy, but a bridge between potential realities. Ernest Blair, the watch repairer, lived this principle in his own quiet way. His hands would move with delicate precision among the intricate gears and springs, but his true work happened in the realm of rhythm and belief. He understood that every mechanism, whether a timepiece or the universe itself, pulses with an underlying harmony. When Ernest repaired watches, he did more than align mechanical parts. He would synchronize his own heartbeat with the gentle ticking, believing that this internal alignment created a cosmic resonance. To him, each watch was a miniature universe, and his careful attention was a form of communication with the larger energetic web that connects all things. The principle here transcends mere mechanical repair or wishful thinking. It speaks to a deeper truth, that your focused attention creates bridges between what exists and what you wish to manifest. Your inner state, your rhythm, your belief, your expectation becomes the tuning fork that attracts corresponding experiences. Just as a garden responds to nurturing, your life's landscape shifts in response to the quality of your inner cultivation. Every thought is a seed, every emotion the water and sunlight that determine its growth. When you approach your desires with the same care Ernest applied to his watches, with precision, respect, and a sense of underlying harmony, you create the conditions for miraculous alignment. Before sleep, greet tomorrow's you and feel both of you smiling in agreement. Chapter 15. The Glow of Service. In the gentle weave of universal laws, you stand at the threshold of understanding that giving is not an act of subtraction, but a miraculous multiplication. Sylvia Reed lived this truth before she could name it. Her hands moved with an unconscious grace, offering small mercies, a warm cup of tea to a weary neighbor, a spare blanket to a street musician, a listening ear to a troubled friend. Each gesture emerged not from calculation, but from an inner wellspring that seemed to replenish itself with every offering. The universe whispers a sacred secret through such acts. Generosity is not about depletion, but about circulation. When you give from a place of joy, you do not diminish yourself. You expand. The energy of kindness knows no boundaries, no limits. It flows like water, finding its way through the smallest crevices, nourishing everything it touches. Norman Shaw understood this without scholarly explanation. A humble postal worker with weathered hands and a smile that held decades of quiet wisdom, he moved through his days scattering kindness like seeds. A helping hand with a heavy package, a moment of conversation with an elderly customer, an encouraging word to a young apprentice, his generosity asked nothing in return. And yet something extraordinary happened. The world seemed to lean toward him, offering opportunities, connections, unexpected moments of grace. You might wonder about the mechanics of such abundance. How can giving create more? The answer lies not in mathematical logic, but in the fluid intelligence of the universe. When you offer without expectation, you declare to the unseen forces that your inner resource is infinite. You become a channel, not a container. The energy moves through you, not from you. This is not mere sentiment, but a fundamental law of existence. Every act of genuine giving sends ripples through the invisible fabric of connection. Your kindness becomes a signal, a vibration that communicates abundance, trust, and interconnectedness. The universe listens, and it responds in the language of synchronicity and flow. Consider your own capacity for giving. It is not measured by grand gestures, but by the quality of your intention. A smile can be as potent as a substantial gift when it springs from authentic care. Your generosity is not about the external action, but the internal state from which it emerges. The practice awaits you. Offer one act of quiet kindness today as celebration of overflowing energy already yours. Chapter 16. The Music of Trust. You inhabit a universe far more fluid than you imagine, where your inner state conducts the orchestra of experience. Tension is but a misunderstood instrument, capable of creating discord when gripped too tightly, yet transformative when released with grace. Lillian Abbott discovered this truth not through struggle, but through surrender. She watched how her muscles would tighten when uncertainty arrived, how her breath would shallow, and how creativity would retreat like a shy woodland creature sensing danger. But something shifted when she learned to breathe differently, not controlling, but allowing. Her hands, once rigid with expectation, began to move with a newfound lightness. She noticed how her thoughts could flow like water when she stopped damming their natural current. Each moment became an invitation rather than a challenge, each uncertainty a potential melody waiting to be heard. Harrison Cross embodied this principle through music. In his small studio surrounded by wooden instruments and quiet anticipation, he understood that perfection resided not in flawless execution, but in genuine expression. When he strummed his guitar, he did not hunt for correct notes, but let the music speak through him. His fingers would dance across strings, not with calculated precision, but with the spontaneity of wind moving through leaves. Mistakes were not errors to be corrected, but unexpected harmonies waiting to be embraced. And in this space of trust, something magical occurred. His music transcended technical skill and became pure emotion. The universe responds to your internal rhythm. When you release the grip of forced outcomes, you allow inspiration to breathe. Your energy becomes an open channel, inviting synchronicities and unexpected melodies of opportunity. Practice. Let your breath play like music, steady and sure, trusting each note is perfectly timed. Chapter 17, The Shape of Gratitude. In the symphony of life, you are learning that every note, even those that seem discordant, carries wisdom waiting to be heard. Hattie Snow understood this profound truth long before most would recognize its power. Where others saw obstacles, she perceived orchestrations of growth, transforming hardship into her most trusted mentor. When challenges arrived at her doorstep, Hattie did not resist. Instead, she welcomed them with open arms, her gratitude a gentle melody that reshaped the very texture of experience. She knew that resistance creates friction, but appreciation creates flow. Clifford Lane embodied this principle in his humble bakery. During thunderstorms that would send other merchants into panic, he stood at his wooden counter, kneading bread dough with rhythmic joy. Each thunderclap became a percussion instrument in his kitchen symphony, and he would whisper, "Thank you for your powerful music." His bread seemed to rise differently on those days, fuller, more robust. Customers noticed something special in loaves baked during storms, a warmth, a resilience that mirrored Clifford's own spirit. His bakery became known not just for bread, but for the miraculous way challenges seemed to transform around him. The universe listens to the frequency of your appreciation. When you thank an inconvenience, you transmute its energy. You are not denying the difficulty, but acknowledging its potential to teach, to strengthen, to redirect. Your practice awaits. Whisper appreciation for one inconvenience until it becomes a surprising gift. Chapter 18, The Gentle Fire. You have been taught that passion burns, that desire consumes. But what if true power resides not in fierce chase, but in a steady, luminous calm? Esther Morton understood this transformation when she ceased battling her dreams and began embracing them with serene recognition. For years, Esther had mistaken intensity for progress. Her ambitions felt like a raging wildfire, consuming everything in their path, relationships, peace, her own inner landscape. She believed success demanded constant struggle, that achievement was a war to be won through relentless effort and grinding determination. Arthur Boyd showed her another way. A quiet artist who understood the subtle dynamics of energy, he demonstrated that inspiration flows not from forceful pushing, but from gentle allowing. When he meditated by candlelight, his flame remained steady, not flickering with desperate urgency, but glowing with assured presence. Passion is not violence, Arthur would say. It is a warm current, a consistent energy that knows its own strength without needing to prove it. His wisdom invited Esther to reimagine her relationship with desire. She began to see her goals not as distant conquests, but as natural extensions of her inner landscape. Like a candle's flame, her aspirations could illuminate without scorching, guide without consuming. The universe, she realized, responds to calm certainty far more readily than to frantic striving. When you align with the feeling of what you wish to create, not from lack, but from an abundant sense of already belonging, manifestation becomes fluid, almost effortless. Arthur's meditation practice became her own. She learned to sense desire not as an urgent demand, but as a warm, steady glow emanating from her chest. This internal warmth carried a different frequency, one of trust, of knowing, of peaceful expectation. Her world began to shift. Opportunities arrived without desperate hunting. Connections formed with surprising ease. The harder she had previously pushed, the more resistance she had encountered. Now, by cultivating this gentle inner fire, she discovered a more elegant pathway. Practice. Sense desire as warmth in your chest, glowing peacefully rather than urgency chasing results. Chapter 19. The Infinite Yes Within. In the soft light of dawn, you stand at the threshold of understanding a truth more potent than any external accolade. Your own approval is the most powerful currency of creation. Pearl Jennings discovered this secret not through grand gestures, but through quiet moments of inner recognition. Imagine a world where your worth is not measured by applause, promotions, or the fleeting praise of others. Instead, picture a reality where your own gentle affirmation becomes the catalyst for transformation. Pearl learned that every time she acknowledged her inherent value, the universe conspired to reflect that recognition. Jerome Kane embodied this principle with remarkable simplicity. Before each significant moment in his career, he would stand before his reflection, look deeply into his own eyes, and speak words of profound self-acceptance. I approve. Not as a boastful declaration, but as a quiet, confident knowing. His promotions didn't arrive because he chased them, but because he had already claimed his worth internally. The external world is but a mirror, reflecting the frequency of your inner landscape. When you truly approve of yourself, not from a place of ego, but from a space of deep, compassionate understanding, you emit a vibration that cannot be ignored. Your self-validation becomes a magnetic force, drawing opportunities, connections, and experiences that align with your intrinsic value. This is not about arrogance or false confidence. It is about recognizing the magnificent essence within you that requires no external validation. Your worth is not something to be earned, but something to be remembered, like a seed that knows its potential to become a mighty tree. You too carry within you an unshakable core of brilliance. Jerome's approach was not about forcing outcomes, but about aligning with his own sense of worth. When he looked in the mirror and said, I approve, he was not seeking permission from the world, but acknowledging the permission he had already granted himself. This subtle shift transformed not just his perception, but the very fabric of his reality. You might wonder how such a simple practice could yield such profound results. The answer lies in the quantum nature of belief. Your approval is not just a thought. It is a vibration, a frequency that resonates through the invisible threads connecting your inner world to the expansive universe. As you stand at this moment of revelation, understand that your own yes is enough. Not the yes of desperation or the yes of seeking validation, but the yes of pure, unconditional self-acceptance. Practice. Each dawn, stand before your reflection. Look into your own eyes with tender compassion. Speak softly, but with unwavering certainty. I am already enough. Let these words sink into your being, not as words, but as a living truth. Watch as reality begins to concur, gently reshaping itself around your newfound recognition of self-worth. Chapter 20. The Symmetry of Blessing. In the quiet symphony of universal exchange, you are learning that every gesture of kindness ripples beyond what eyes can witness. Lois Turner understood this sacred rhythm, a delicate dance where giving and receiving breathe as one continuous movement. Her life had once felt like a ledger of transactions, carefully tracking each kindness offered and received. But wisdom whispered a different truth. True abundance flows not from calculation, but from the pure intention of the heart. When she began to see her actions as offerings rather than exchanges, something miraculous emerged. Randall Beck embodied this principle with gentle precision. Each morning he would walk city streets radiating warmth, a smile here, a nod there, not demanding response, simply releasing kindness like seeds carried on wind. Weeks passed, and he noticed something extraordinary. The same strangers who had received his initial smiles now greeted him with familiar warmth. The universe, you will discover, is not a marketplace of strict accounting, but a living web of energy that reflects your innermost vibration. Every blessing sent outward returns, not necessarily through the same channel, but always magnified by the pure intention of its origin. Your generosity is not about keeping score, but about understanding that you are simultaneously the source and the receiver of grace. When you offer kindness without expectation, you become a conduit for something far greater than personal transaction. You become an instrument of universal love. Notice how nature itself demonstrates this principle. A tree does not calculate the exact number of leaves it will grow, nor does it demand payment from the birds that nest in its branches. It simply offers, trusting in the inherent abundance of life's interconnected design. Your practice now becomes a sacred ritual of blessing. Whenever a face crosses your thoughts, be it someone you know or a fleeting memory, offer a silent benediction. Let your inner voice whisper wellness, peace, and joy to them. Trust that this energy circles home, not as a boomerang of precise return, but as a wave of compassion that transforms everything it touches. Offer silent blessings to whoever crosses your thoughts, trusting that energy circles home, magnified. Part 3. Becoming the Reality Shifter. Chapter 21. The Moment of Choice. In the grand tapestry of existence, you stand at the constant crossroads of choice, each moment a delicate brushstroke painting the landscape of your unfolding reality. Celia Horton once believed fate was a rigid sculpture, immovable and predetermined. But she discovered something revolutionary. Every microscopic decision carries the potential to rewrite the entire narrative of your life. Imagine your choices not as heavy chains binding you, but as fluid currents of energy that respond instantaneously to your inner alignment. Each moment offers a pivot point, a subtle turning where your awareness can redirect the flow of possibility. Willie Grant embodied this principle with unexpected grace. One ordinary morning, instead of following his usual route, he turned left where he would typically turn right. What seemed like a minor deviation became a gateway to an opportunity disguised as a simple change. The universe does not distinguish between grand gestures and tiny shifts. It responds to the energy of your intention. Your power resides in the present moment, in the space between thought and action. Each choice is not just a movement through physical space, but a vibrational signal broadcasting your inner state. When you choose from a place of lightness, of ease, you are essentially tuning your internal radio to a frequency of effortless manifestation. Consider how a river finds its path, not through forceful determination, but by flowing around obstacles, adapting, responding. Your life moves similarly. The rigid belief that you must push and struggle is an illusion. True navigation is about sensing, feeling, and allowing. The teaching here transcends simple decision-making. It is about developing an intimate relationship with your own intuition, learning to distinguish between choices that feel heavy and those that feel light. This is not about logical analysis, but about a deeper, more subtle sensing. When you pause before a decision, no matter how small, and ask yourself which option feels lighter, you are practicing a form of spiritual alignment. This lightness is not mere comfort, but a profound communication from your inner wisdom. It is the universe whispering its guidance through the language of feeling. Your practice now becomes a moment of sacred awareness. Pause before any small decision and ask which feels lighter. The answer is alignment. Chapter 22. The Breath of Creation. You stand at the threshold of transformation where each breath becomes a bridge between what is and what could be. The ancient wisdom whispers that your breath is not merely a biological function, but a sacred instrument of creation. Just as Lydia Combs discovered, your breath carries the rhythm of manifestation itself, a delicate dance of receiving and releasing. Imagine your breath as a living current of energy, flowing through you with intentional grace. When you inhale, you are drawing in the infinite possibilities of the universe. Each breath is an invitation, a silent prayer that opens the chambers of potential within you. As you exhale, you are releasing not just air, but your deepest intentions, sculpting the invisible landscape of your reality. Melvin Adair understood this principle through his wind chimes. Each carefully crafted tone was more than mere sound. It was a vibrational prayer, a harmonic invitation to the universe. His breath, synchronized with the gentle swaying of the chimes, became a bridge between thought and matter. He knew that creation is not about forcing outcomes, but about aligning your inner rhythm with the cosmic symphony. Your breath carries wisdom older than words. It knows how to transform, how to heal, how to manifest. When you breathe consciously, you are no longer simply existing. You are conducting the orchestra of your own reality. Each inhale is a gathering of light, of potential, of unbridled possibility. Each exhale is a gentle yet powerful release of faith, sending your intentions dancing into the world. The art of breathing is the art of trusting. It is a moment-to-moment surrender, a continuous conversation with the universe. When you breathe with intention, you are telling the world, I am ready, I am open, I am creating. Practice. Breathe as though each inhale gathers light and each exhale releases faith into the world. Chapter 23. The Alignment of Contrast. In the grand tapestry of existence, you are constantly weaving your reality through the threads of perception. Contrast, that seemingly harsh companion of experience, is not your enemy, but a master sculptor chiseling the precise contours of your deepest desires. Josephine Perry understood this sacred truth after years of battling against life's unexpected turns. She had once viewed unwelcome experiences as obstacles, moments of frustration that threatened to derail her journey. But gradually she discovered that each uncomfortable situation was not a roadblock, but a precise instrument of revelation. When something appears contrary to your immediate wishes, it is not a punishment, but a clarification. The universe speaks through contrast, drawing sharp lines around what you truly want by first showing you what you do not. Every moment of resistance is an opportunity to refine your understanding, to distill your preferences with greater clarity. Howard Briggs embodied this wisdom during his daily commute. Where others saw traffic as a source of anger, he recognized it as a moment of potential transformation. Stuck between rows of unmoving vehicles, he would close his eyes and breathe into the vision of open, flowing roads. Instead of cursing the standstill, he used those moments to imagine smooth, effortless travel. The magic resided not in fighting against his current experience, but in using it as a canvas for imagination. His mental images were not desperate pleas, but calm, certain declarations of future movement. And remarkably, the external world began to align with his inner vision. Traffic would part, routes would clear, journeys would become fluid. This is the profound law of contrast. It does not exist to frustrate you, but to focus you. Like a lens adjusting its view, contrast helps you see with increasing precision. Each moment that seems wrong is actually pointing you toward what feels right. Your job is not to resist, but to receive the information, to thank the moment for its clarity, and to gently redirect your attention. When annoyance rises, smile, recognizing the universe, clarifying your next joy. This is not denial, but conscious alchemy, transforming resistance into revelation, frustration into focus, blockage into breakthrough. Practice. When annoyance rises, smile, recognizing the universe, clarifying your next joy. Chapter 24. The Vision Already Done. In the dance of creation, you stand at the threshold where imagination meets manifestation. Every moment carries the potential to transform your inner vision into tangible reality. Martha King understood this secret long before most. She knew that seeing was not merely believing, but actively inviting. Each morning, Martha would close her eyes and construct her desired future with such vivid detail that the boundaries between imagination and reality began to blur. She did not hope or wish. She remembered. Her mind became a canvas where dreams were not distant possibilities, but living, breathing experiences already in motion. Your thoughts are more powerful than you realize. They are not mere fleeting whispers, but precise instructions to the universe. When you imagine with emotional richness, you send out a frequency that cannot help but attract its physical counterpart. Roger Nash embodied this principle in his business venture. Before signing the lease, before purchasing equipment, before making a single plan, He saturated his mind with the vision of a thriving enterprise. He saw the bustling shop, heard the conversations of satisfied customers, felt the energy of success coursing through every corner of his imagined space. This is not daydreaming. This is deliberate creation. You are not waiting for opportunity. You are crafting its arrival. The universe responds to the emotional landscape of your inner world, meticulously arranging circumstances to match your most deeply held beliefs. Contrast exists to sharpen your understanding of desire. Every challenge, every moment that appears opposite to what you want, is actually a sculptor's chisel defining the edges of your preference. When you learn to see these moments not as obstacles but as clarifying experiences, you transform resistance into guidance. Your power lies in your ability to maintain your inner vision regardless of external circumstances. Martha and Roger did not allow current realities to dictate their expectations. They held their vision with gentle certainty, knowing that what they could see internally would inevitably materialize externally. Practice. Picture one goal as memory and feel satisfaction as evidence it exists. Close your eyes. Choose a goal that stirs your heart. Now, do not imagine pursuing it. Remember living it. Feel the complete satisfaction as though it has already happened. Let the emotion of achievement fill you completely, as if this moment is not a future possibility, but a cherished memory already experienced. Chapter 25. The Pulse of Presence. In the quiet rhythm of creation, you are learning that manifestation is not a battle to be won, but a dance to be experienced. Your thoughts are not weapons to be wielded, but gentle brush strokes painting the canvas of reality. Anita Yates once believed that hope was a scattered energy, something to be chased through multiple paths simultaneously. She would juggle dreams like fragile glass, afraid that focusing on one might cause another to shatter. Her mind was a whirlwind of half-completed thoughts, potential paths spinning without direction. But true manifestation whispers a different truth. It speaks of presence, of being so fully immersed in the moment that time becomes fluid and possibilities bloom from stillness. When Anita finally understood this, her world transformed. Lloyd Parks embodied this principle in his small watch repair shop. For years, he moved mechanically, his mind darting between repair tasks, future worries, and distant memories. His watches worked, but they lacked the magic of true craftsmanship. Then something shifted. One afternoon, Lloyd chose to see each watch not as a task to complete, but as a universe of intricate connections. He noticed how each tiny gear caught the light, how each spring sang its own silent music. His hands moved with reverence, his attention a laser of pure intention. Customers began to feel something different. They weren't just buying repaired watches. They were receiving pieces of carefully crafted intention. Sales began to rise not through marketing or strategy, but through the pure energy of focused presence. The universe responds to undivided attention. When you scatter your energy, you send a message of lack, of uncertainty. But when you pour your entire being into a single moment, you create a resonance so powerful that reality cannot help but align with your vision. Your manifestations do not require heroic efforts or complex strategies. They require your full, unbridled presence. Like a painter who sees every brushstroke as a sacred act, or a musician who becomes the music itself, you too can transform your reality through the pure alchemy of attention. The world is waiting to dance with your focused intention, not through force, but through gentle, unwavering presence. Practice. Devote full awareness to any single act today until time dissolves. Chapter 26. The Harmonious Self. In the tapestry of life's unfolding, you stand at the threshold of a profound revelation. Presence is not a destination, but a continuous breath of awareness. Just as Mabel Boone discovered, the chase for external validation is a labyrinth that leads away from your true power. Her journey mirrors your own, a winding path of seeking approval from the world, only to realize that true harmony emerges when the internal chorus of your being sings in resonant unity. Imagine for a moment the internal voices that have long competed within you. Some whisper doubt, others echo past criticisms, while a quiet core knows your inherent worth. These voices are not enemies to be silenced, but harmonies waiting to be integrated. Your wholeness does not require perfection, but acceptance. Leonard Frank's story of the unfinished sculpture speaks directly to this truth. Standing before his creation, he recognized that completion is not about flawlessness, but about embracing what already exists. In that moment of radical acceptance, something miraculous occurred. The statue seemed to glow, as if gratitude itself were a polishing cloth that could transform rough stone into radiant art. Your life is that sculpture. Each experience, each perceived flaw, each triumph is a chisel mark contributing to your unique form. The world does not require you to be smooth and without texture. Instead, it invites you to be authentically, courageously yourself. Presence is not a state of rigid control, but a fluid dance of awareness. When you fully inhabit this moment, you create a magnetic field of possibility. Your attention becomes the most potent currency of creation. Where you place your focus, energy flows, and manifestation begins. Consider how often you fragment your attention, scattering your vital energy across multiple concerns. Each time you split your awareness, you diminish your creative power. But when you learn to be fully here, to breathe into this exact moment with complete acceptance, you activate a profound alchemy. The pulse of presence beats not in grand gestures, but in small, intimate moments of true connection. It lives in the way you fold laundry, listen to a friend, or breathe deeply before making a choice. Each of these moments is an invitation to wholeness. Your practice awaits, a bridge between understanding and embodiment. List silently the ways you already embody what you seek, letting harmony hum inside. Chapter 27. The Field of Unity. You stand at the threshold of understanding a profound universal truth. Success is not a limited resource to be hoarded, but an expansive energy that grows when celebrated. Opal Ramsey's journey illuminates this essential wisdom, revealing how the boundaries between individual experiences are far more fluid than most perceive. For years, Opal watched others' achievements with a mixture of quiet desperation and hidden resentment. Each promotion, each milestone achieved by her colleagues seemed to underscore her own perceived limitations. She believed success was a scarce commodity, a finite pie from which only a few could take a slice. But then came the moment of transformation. During a team gathering, when a colleague announced a significant breakthrough, something inside Opal shifted. Instead of the familiar tightness of comparison, she felt a genuine surge of joy. She realized that her colleague's success did not diminish her own potential, but actually expanded the field of possibility for everyone. Gilbert Crane embodied this principle with elegant simplicity. A sales professional in a competitive industry, he made it his practice to genuinely celebrate the achievements of his peers. Where others saw rivals, he saw collaborators in an abundant universe. When a colleague closed a remarkable deal, Gilbert would be the first to offer sincere congratulations, his enthusiasm untainted by jealousy. The universe, you'll discover, operates on the principle of resonance. When you celebrate another's rise without reservation, you align yourself with the frequency of success. Your genuine appreciation becomes a beacon, signaling to the cosmic intelligence that you are ready to receive, not from a place of lack, but from a state of overflowing abundance. This is not about forced positivity or performative cheerfulness. It's about recognizing that true success is interconnected. Each person's achievement is a thread in the larger tapestry of collective potential. When you genuinely honor another's journey, you expand your own energetic bandwidth. Gilbert's approach transformed his professional landscape. Colleagues who once viewed him as competition began to see him as an ally. Opportunities began to flow towards him not through manipulation, but through the magnetic power of genuine celebration. His success was no longer something he chased, but something that naturally gravitated towards his open-hearted approach. The teaching is clear. Abundance is not competitive, it is collaborative. Your joy for another's success does not subtract from your own potential. It multiplies it. Each moment of sincere celebration is an investment in the collective energy field, a signal to the universe that you understand the fundamental interconnectedness of all experience. Practice. Bless the success you witness today as proof that abundance is contagious and infinite. Chapter 28. The Light Beyond Fear. In the tapestry of human experience, you stand at the threshold of understanding that fear is not an enemy, but a messenger waiting to be heard. Eleanor Webb's journey illuminates a profound truth. When you meet your fears with gentle curiosity, they transform like shadows, dissolving in sunlight. Eleanor had spent decades running from the whispers of her inner uncertainties. They chased her through sleepless nights and hesitant mornings, always just behind her shoulder, always threatening to consume her. But something shifted when she decided to turn and face them, not with weapons of resistance, but with the soft gaze of compassionate understanding. Imagine fear as a frightened child, trembling and desperate to be heard. Most humans react by pushing it away, creating more tension, more separation. But Eleanor learned to sit with her fears, to listen to their stories without judgment. She discovered that beneath every fear lived a tender wish for safety, for protection, for love. Tobias Wright's story mirrors this wisdom. He once carried his fears like a fragile, wounded bird, holding them carefully, breathing slowly, allowing their trembling to gradually subside. In the act of holding without crushing, of witnessing without condemning, both the fear and Tobias found stillness. The universe operates on a fundamental principle of energy and connection. Your fears are not solid barriers but fluid experiences waiting to be understood. They are not walls but gates. invitations to deeper self-knowledge. When you approach them with love, they cannot help but transform. This is not about eliminating fear, but about changing your relationship with it. Fear carries information about your boundaries, your vulnerabilities, your unhealed wounds. Each tremor is a signal, each moment of anxiety, a communication from your deeper self. Your awareness is the most powerful alchemy. Like a gentle light entering a dark room, consciousness dissolves the shadows of illusion. Fear exists in separation, but love knows no boundaries. When you meet your fears with an open heart, they begin to lose their grip, their sharp edges softening. The practice is simple yet profound. Close your eyes and breathe. Find that place within where fear resides. Do not push it away. Instead, imagine yourself holding it tenderly, like Tobias held his trembling bird. Whisper to it, "I see you. I hear you. You are welcome here." Greet one fear gently, thanking it for guiding you back to courage. Chapter 29. The Signature of Joy. Your mood is the paintbrush that colors the canvas of reality, and Dorcas Lane understood this secret with remarkable clarity. She discovered that the emotional tone during visualization was not merely a companion to manifestation, but its very architect. In her small cottage overlooking rolling meadows, Dorcas learned to infuse her dreams with joy, treating her imagination like a playground rather than a serious workshop. When she envisioned prosperity, she did not furrow her brow in concentration, but allowed laughter to bubble up, transforming her visualizations into delightful performances. Edwin Hurst embodied this principle with remarkable grace. A traveling salesman with a reputation for humor, he approached his dreams with a comedian's lightness. While other salesmen strategized intensely, Edwin would visualize his success with chuckles and playful gestures, as if rehearsing a comedic sketch about his own triumph. Months would pass, and Edwin would find his manifestations arriving not just as achievements, but as scenarios laced with unexpected humor. Deals would close with surprising ease, punctuated by moments of shared laughter. Clients were drawn to his infectious joy, and opportunities seemed to dance toward him, wearing the same comedic costume he had initially imagined. The universe, it seemed, responded not to serious demands, but to the frequency of joy. Your inner emotional landscape broadcasts a signal more powerful than any calculated effort. When you can approach your desires with genuine delight, you transform manifestation from a rigid process into a fluid, joyful dance. This is not about forcing happiness, but about genuinely enjoying the journey of creation. Your emotions are not secondary to your goals. They are the very energy that gives those goals life and movement. Laugh lightly while imagining any dream to ensure it arrives wearing your smile. Chapter 30. The New Reality. You stand at the threshold of transformation, where the ink of your inner narrative meets the parchment of lived experience. Lucille Barrett's journey reveals a profound truth. Change is not an external force, but an internal symphony you conduct with every thought, every breath. Your life is a manuscript waiting to be rewritten, and you hold both the pen and the power. Milton Page understood this when he traced the origins of his struggles back to the stories he had unconsciously told himself. Each repetitive narrative was a spell binding him to circumstances he believed were immutable. But you are not bound. You are the author of your reality, crafting each moment with the subtle alchemy of belief. When Milton recognized the power of his inner dialogue, he began to edit his life's story with compassion. Where once he saw obstacles, he now saw opportunities. Where rejection lived, invitation bloomed. His gentle rewriting transformed not just his perception, but the very fabric of his existence. This is the secret whispered between the lines of reality. Awareness is the catalyst that dissolves old timelines and births conscious creation. Your thoughts are not mere passing winds, but architects of worlds. Each belief you hold is a blueprint, each emotion a construction worker building the landscape of your experience. The universe listens with extraordinary sensitivity to the tone of your inner conversation. It does not distinguish between what you fear and what you desire. It simply responds to the frequency you emit. When you speak to yourself with kindness, with hope, with expectation of grace, reality begins to rearrange itself to match that vibration. Milton's transformation was not magical, but magical in its simplicity. He understood that every story can be rewritten. Every limitation is a narrative waiting to be revised. Your past does not define you. Your present moment of awareness does. Practice. Affirm now that reality bends to your belief and watch the air shimmer with agreement. Part 4. The Expansion into Infinity. Chapter 31. The Door Between Worlds. You stand at the threshold of understanding, where imagination and reality dance in subtle synchronicity. Your consciousness is the bridge between what appears fixed and what remains fluid, a living portal through which transformation flows. Winifred Lowe's story whispers an ancient truth. The boundary between inner vision and external manifestation is far more permeable than most realize. When she dreamt of her childhood garden, complete with honeysuckle and weathered wooden fence, she did not merely recall a memory. She was creating a vibrational invitation for that reality to bloom. The flowers that appeared outside her window were not coincidence, but correspondence. They were the universe responding to her inner landscape, translating her dreamscape into physical form. Each petal carried the signature of her remembered joy, each leaf a testament to the power of conscious imagination. Everett Hunt understood this principle differently. Where others might dismiss such experiences as fantasy, he recognized them as communication. Dreams are not escapes from reality, but transmissions, precise communications between the self and the infinite intelligence that shapes existence. Your imagination is not separate from the world. It is a creative force that shapes and reshapes reality. Every thought carries a frequency, every visualization a potential blueprint. When you approach this understanding with calm acceptance, you open doorways between dimensions that logic cannot comprehend. The practice offered is not mere visualization, but an alchemical process. Before sleeping, you are invited to imagine a doorway of light, not as escape, but as remembrance. This doorway represents the fluid boundary between what you perceive as possible and what remains waiting to emerge. Step through this luminous threshold not to flee your current reality, but to reconnect with the fundamental unity underlying all experience. In this moment of transition, you are both the traveler and the path, the dreamer and the dream. Your consciousness becomes the key. turning silently in the lock between worlds. Chapter 32. The Quiet Arrival. As you read these words, imagine a truth that has been whispering just beyond your immediate perception. The universe communicates most eloquently in silence, not in grand gestures or thunderous signs. Your pursuit of meaning often creates the very barriers that prevent its arrival. Nora Fields understood this secret after years of desperate searching. She had chased every whisper, every potential sign, believing that manifestation was a complex dance of effort and cosmic intervention. Her shelves were lined with journals filled with interpretations, her walls decorated with charts tracking synchronicities, her mind a constant radar scanning for divine messages. But true wisdom arrived not through calculation, but through surrender. One autumn morning, as golden leaves drifted past her window, Nora realized her relentless seeking was actually pushing away the very experiences she desired. The universe, she discovered, does not respond to desperate hunting, but to peaceful allowance. Calvin Rhodes embodied this principle unexpectedly. He had been waiting for a transformative letter, a communication that could alter his entire trajectory, for months. Instead of anxiously checking his mailbox or obsessively tracking potential sources, he simply cleaned his desk. With each paper sorted, each drawer organized, he released his attachment to the outcome. In that moment of calm detachment, without fanfare or dramatic revelation, the letter appeared. Not through extraordinary means, but through the natural flow of aligned energy. His peaceful state had created the perfect conditions for arrival. The teaching crystallizes a profound universal law. Manifestation does not announce itself with trumpets and spectacle. It slips quietly into the spaces you create through inner calm, through trust, through the gentle art of letting go. Your manifestations are like shy creatures. They do not emerge when you chase them frantically, but when you create a peaceful environment where they feel safe to approach. Your inner state is the invitation, your calm the welcome mat. Practice. Sit silently once a day, letting all desire rest, trusting that quietness is the welcome mat for answered requests. Chapter 33. The Compass of Emotion. You stand at the crossroads of perception, where most travelers mistake mental maps for true guidance. Etta Drake once believed life was a puzzle to be solved, a labyrinth to be conquered through sheer willpower. She plotted courses, drew elaborate strategies, and yet found herself perpetually lost, her plans crumbling like weathered parchment. But the universe whispers its wisdom differently. Your emotions are not random fluctuations. They are precise instruments calibrated to guide you toward your most authentic path. Each feeling is a signal, a subtle nudge from the deeper intelligence that knows precisely where you need to be. Amos Kent understood this secret accidentally. A methodical engineer by training, he had spent years constructing rational plans, believing logic could engineer success. He would diagram opportunities, calculate risks, and draft meticulous strategies. Yet something always felt missing. A spark, a resonance that mathematical precision could not capture. One unremarkable Tuesday, exhausted by his own careful planning, Amos decided to do something radical. Instead of analyzing an upcoming project proposal, he simply asked himself, "What feels exciting?" Not what made sense, not what seemed prudent, but what genuinely made his heart quicken. To his surprise, a seemingly random invitation caught his attention, a conversation with a colleague he'd typically have dismissed as tangential. Where logic would have redirected him to his spreadsheets, his emerging emotional compass pointed toward this unexpected conversation. During that dialogue, an opportunity unfolded, not through strategy, but through the organic alignment of genuine interest. The project that materialized bore no resemblance to his original plans, yet it resonated with a deeper truth. His excitement had been the true navigation system, more accurate than any calculated route. Your emotional landscape is not a weakness to be controlled, but a sophisticated guidance mechanism. Joy is not merely a pleasant sensation, it is information. Relief is not just comfort, it is redirection. When something feels light, expansive, and energizing, you are moving toward alignment. When something feels constrictive, heavy, or draining, you are moving away from your true path. The practice is simple, yet profound. Throughout the day, pause and consult your emotional compass. Notice which thoughts feel like sunlight streaming through windows, warming you from within. Which ideas make your energy expand? Which conversations leave you feeling more alive? Follow those routes, even if they seem unconventional. Your emotions are not random. They are wisdom, speaking in the language of feeling, guiding you toward experiences that match your deepest truth. Trust them. Throughout the day, consult your emotional compass by noticing which thoughts feel like sunlight and following those routes. Chapter 34. The Ripple of Thoughtfulness. Your inner landscape is a terrain more powerful than any physical map, more intricate than any geographical boundary. You are not merely observing reality, you are constantly broadcasting your frequency into the world, painting invisible brush strokes that shape experiences before they crystallize into form. Consider Matilda Brock, a woman who understood that thoughts are not confined within the skull, but are living, breathing entities that traverse unseen pathways. She began practicing a quiet art, sending silent blessings toward every soul she encountered. Not grand proclamations or loud declarations, but gentle, tender wishes of well-being that flowed from her heart like soft, invisible currents. At first, nothing seemed to change. She would pass a tired shopkeeper, a hurried businessman, a weary mother, and quietly whisper inner blessings. May you find peace. May ease find you today. Her thoughts traveled silently, unheard by physical ears, yet resonating at frequencies beyond ordinary perception. Days turned into weeks, and something remarkable began to unfold. Strangers started smiling more frequently around her. The shopkeeper's demeanor softened, the businessman's stride became less rushed, and the mother's eyes sparkled with unexpected joy. Matilda realized her silent benedictions were not mere wishful thinking, but active energetic transmissions that subtly reshaped the emotional landscape. Oliver Quinn embodied a similar principle in his approach to community. He didn't organize meetings or launch grand initiatives. Instead, he simply adored his town with quiet, consistent appreciation. He noticed beauty in small details, the way sunlight caught the old brick buildings, how children played in the park, the resilience of local businesses. His love was not loud or demanding, but a steady, gentle pulse of genuine affection. Weeks later, something extraordinary emerged. Community events began sprouting spontaneously. Neighbors who had never spoken started conversations. Local artists collaborated, small businesses supported each other, and a sense of collective warmth permeated the town's atmosphere. Oliver's quiet adoration had become a vibrational blueprint that others unconsciously followed. The universal law reveals a profound truth. Kindness is not just an action, but a frequency that vibrates into physical structure. Your thoughts are not passive. They are active architects of reality, constructing emotional landscapes that eventually manifest as tangible experiences. Your consciousness is a broadcasting station, continuously sending signals that interact with the quantum field. Every thought carries a charge, every emotion a resonance that ripples far beyond your immediate perception. Practice. Let one kind thought ripple outward whenever your mind wanders, recognizing that each wave returns multiplied. Chapter 35. The Golden Thread of Continuity. You stand at the threshold of understanding where manifestation is not an endpoint, but a gateway. Sally Dean's journey reveals a profound truth. Every dream realized is not a final destination, but a launching point for broader horizons of possibility. Imagine your desires as living, breathing entities, not static achievements to be conquered, but dynamic seeds of potential waiting to germinate. When Eugene Parker sat with his old wish list, crossing off goals he had once only imagined, he discovered something miraculous. Each fulfilled dream was not a conclusion, but an invitation to expand. The universe whispers a secret to those willing to listen. Completion is not an ending, but a transformation. Your manifestations are not finish lines, but fertile ground where new dreams take root. Every goal you achieve carries within it the blueprint of your next evolution. Think of your accomplished dreams like ripples on a pond. When a stone of intention drops into the waters of your reality, its impact creates circles that extend far beyond the initial splash. Your first manifestation becomes the catalyst for increasingly profound experiences. Sally understood this when she realized her dreams were not isolated events, but interconnected chapters of a continuously unfolding story. Each fulfilled wish was not a period, but a comma, inviting the next breath of possibility to emerge. Eugene's approach of revisiting his list was more than a mere accounting of achievements. It was a ritual of recognition, of honoring the journey and acknowledging how each realized dream had transformed him. Between the crossed-off lines, he could see the emerging landscape of his next vision taking shape. This is the dance of creation, perpetual movement, continuous expansion. Your desires are not containers to be filled, but portals through which you step into wider versions of yourself. Each manifestation is a doorway, not a wall. When you achieve what you once only dreamed, pause. Feel the landscape of your inner world. Notice how you have shifted, how your perspective has expanded, how your capacity for dreaming has grown. The goal was never just about the external result, but about the internal revolution it sparked. The practice awaits you. After each success, thank it for evolving you rather than concluding you, anchoring continuous flow. Chapter 36. The Infinite Horizon. In the soft amber light of dawn, you stand at the threshold of understanding, a moment where the boundary between what is known and what is possible becomes deliciously transparent. Carrie Boone, like many who walk the path of conscious creation, discovered that infinity is not a distant realm, but a breathing landscape that expands with each breath of awareness. When Carrie watched the sunrise, she realized something profound. Consciousness is not static, but a living, responsive energy that grows with every conscious thought. Each moment of true seeing creates new dimensions, new possibilities that were always waiting just beyond the edge of perception. Nearby, Jasper Hill's experience mirrored this universal principle. Standing beneath the star-strewn sky, he understood that his perception was not passive observation, but active creation. As he gazed upward with genuine wonder, the stars seemed to pulse and brighten, responding to the quality of his attention. They were not just distant points of light, but living reflections of his own expanding consciousness. The teaching here transcends simple metaphor. Your awareness is not a window through which you passively view reality, but a dynamic force that shapes and reshapes the very fabric of existence. When you truly see, not just with eyes, but with the depth of your being, you alter the landscape of possibility. This is the golden thread of continuity. Every moment of expanded awareness creates new pathways, new potentials. Your consciousness is not confined by past limitations, but constantly regenerating, constantly inviting more spaciousness, more understanding. Imagine your awareness as a living, breathing entity. Each time you choose to see beyond your current understanding, you stretch the membrane of reality. You are not just observing life. You are continuously creating it through the quality of your perception. The universe does not resist your expansion. It welcomes it. Every time you move beyond your previous boundaries, reality reorganizes itself to match your new level of seeing. Your wonder is the catalyst. Your curiosity, the fuel that propels continuous creation. As the teaching suggests, existence expands each time consciousness does. You are not a fixed point, but a dynamic, ever-evolving field of potential. Practice. Each morning, greet the horizon, whispering thank you for never ending, for every boundary is only invitation. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. You have traversed a landscape of transformation, where each story, each character's journey, has been a reflection of your own awakening. The change was never external, but an internal recalibration, a remembering of your inherent creative power. The universe does not shift, you align. Every parable you encountered was a mirror, showing different facets of your own potential. From Mildred's garden humming with joy to Carrie Boone's sunrise revelation, you have been witnessing your own evolution. The law of attraction is not a technique, but a natural rhythm. Like a musician learning to play their instrument, you have been tuning your inner frequency. Your desires are no longer distant dreams, but living energies breathing through you. This journey transformed hoping into knowing, questioning into quiet command. You learned that manifestation is not about forcing outcomes, but about becoming the vibrational match to what you wish to experience. Every breath now writes itself into existence consciously. You are not waiting for magic, you are the magic. Not seeking power, you are the power. Not chasing abundance, you are abundance itself. You stand at the threshold of understanding. You are the magnet, the mirror, the melody, and the miracle. Ready is not a future state. It is your current position. And from this position, everything listens and responds. Feel the hum beneath all things. You are that hum.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.